The S21 Ultra, we've been using it for about, I'd say, coming towards 2 weeks now, both of us.
Yeah.
My impressions over 2 weeks. Myself and E generally do longer term reviews, so we won't drop a review. After a week or two. It's usually after a month or two that we try to use devices extensively. But we thought we'd share some of our initial thoughts. I've really enjoyed using the S21 Ultra. In my opinion, pretty much everything we asked for from Samsung, they've brought over. That, from what we asked from the S20 Ultra, they've kind of looked at that list. And I was saying in my video that it almost feels like somebody from Samsung was watching my review video with a with a notepad and saying, okay, yep, sure, this,
With the S Pen, with the S Pen,
with the
S
S
Pen,
Pen, with
right?
the S
Yeah.
Pen, because pretty much everything that I asked for was there. I mean, I absolutely love the display, and I think I would go as far as saying that the display on the S21 Ultra is the best display on any smartphone right now. Would you agree?
I would agree, but I think I also that part. I think Samsung tries to do that every year. So for me, that's almost a
No,
given that one
no,
of their
but
devices always tends to
so
hit.
so so last year it was a little bit controversial because if you look at the likes of the OnePlus 8 Pro, the Oppo Find X2 Pro, they all had really good displays. Arguably, I had some issues with my OnePlus 8 Pro display, but we had the likes of Quad HD plus resolution with 120 hertz display, right? Which
True.
no Samsung devices had. So it could be argued that I still think my Note 20 Ultra had the best display because I look at it as a whole. I'm looking at the brightness, peak brightness, and just the overall experience, right? So I think last year, but I think right now just clearly has the crown for the best display.
Yeah, no, no, I would agree with that. It's just last year, 120 hertz. All the devices that had it at Quad HD plus, the battery life was like toilet paper. It just went away.
All right, so this brings me on to the battery life of the S21 Ultra. So I've got mixed feelings on this right now, but I'm still obviously going to be spending more time on it. I have the Exynos version. Now, from what I've been hearing, I've been speaking to a lot of friends with the Exynos version. They're still getting excellent battery life on the Exynos version. I would say mine has been good, not exceptional. But again, it's still early days, so I don't want to give anything conclusive as yet. You've got the Qualcomm version. What is your experience been?
It's beautiful. It's
Oh, man,
beautiful.
I
That's
hear
all I
you.
gotta say. Well, at least for me, just because I'm a Note user, and
Hmm.
my Note 20, I will come into the office around 9:10, and by the time I get back home around 8, it's a 15%. Now, still haven't used the S21 Ultra as extensively as I use my Note. So again, bear that in mind. But while gaming with it, which is what I kind of use as my judgment test because I'm draining battery faster, battery drain has been much less with it, much
Interesting.
much less.
So the
So
the
so
five
for me, it's
nanometer efficiency improvements seem to be on point.
and also an extra 500 milliamps, right?
Hey, that always helps, yeah. But no, I mean, so I'm my Qualcomm version is coming soon, so it should be here within the next week or so. And then once I've kind of extensively used both versions, then I can give you my proper findings in a month or so. So I've had a real experience of using both devices. Cameras. So for me, again, I'm very happy with the cameras overall. I think Samsung has listened once again. A few of the issues that we talked about is the focus enhancer mode, which kind of solves the issue of the very limited focus that you get on the primary camera, which can look beautiful in certain situations, but in other situations it can be like, why is this thing not in focus, right? So I like that they brought that. The zoom is excellent. The selfie camera, I think, has also been improved with the fair and not fair tones that you can choose, the bright selfies and the natural selfies, which I really do like as well. The one area which I'm definitely, a little bit, well, not a little bit, I would say very disappointed on is the portrait mode. So you still can only do portraits with the primary camera, and when you do portraits at two times, it's still using the primary camera, so it results in very
Scrubs
soft.
in, yeah.
Yeah, so I was hoping that they would the reason why they had the 3 times telephoto, I was hoping was to be able to shoot portraits with that lens, which would be the equivalent of around, I'd say around 70 75 millimeters. Whereas
Yeah.
right now, the iPhone being at around 2.5s gives you around the 60 65 millimeter focal length, which I think looks really, really good. I know, you think it makes me look chunky, but thank you. I appreciate that because I like looking chunky.
Oh man, no, I mean, I hear you with the portrait mode. I think though that to me that's something that's easily fixable because you can actually send a software update to just select that camera to do that. And maybe this is also one of those cultural things that they still haven't passed through because that softer image, that fairer image, is still something a lot of Asian manufacturers like to bring into the market. And maybe that's something that they still haven't fully, which is why they were like, okay, we'll give you a tone selection, right? You can pick a tone that fits you, but we still want that softness. And I'm gonna give a shout out and pimp out Board Fem's channel here because she has a photo shoot video coming up solely on the front-facing camera of the S21 Ultra, and
Interesting.
her thought process is, you know, women love their selfies and we love that beautification as much as possible.
That's
So
very interesting. That's very interesting. So, Board Femme is the channel of E's partner, Grizel, who's awesome. Definitely do check out her channel as well. I'm interested to see this because you're very right. It does come down to personal preference. A lot of people do want a bit of beautification. And, I think Snapchat and Instagram filters are testament to that. So many people use that. Now, me personally, a lot of people ask me, how does this camera perform using the Instagram or Snapchat app? Now, me personally, I take images because, my process is I go out, I take lots of images and videos, and then I'll choose what I want to share on social media. I don't immediately take something and share it, right? And this is something that, that's my sort of process. And a lot of people used to always ask me, Saf, how are you uploading from Android and still get amazing quality? And I'm like, because I'm not using the in-app camera, right? I'm
yeah,
using the camera itself, which has all of that processing and all of that AI that gives you those stunning images. Then I'm uploading. Now, having said that, the S21 Ultra Samsung has optimized it for Instagram, correct?
yeah.
To be able to get the best out of the camera, even within these apps. So don't get me wrong. But yeah, it is down to the person. And, you're saying that Grizel does like this beauty mode, which is totally understandable. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with preferring that. But I really like that Samsung's giving us these options now.
You do bring a good point though, because it's even the same thing with the camera. I've seen her like, she want to take photos of food and she opens up. She doesn't open up the camera app. It's the Instagram app first, and even like she's an iPhone user first, and even on the iPhone, I always say like, look, the reason I don't like that, even though it uses, it actually uses Apple's APK for the camera, is that things like focus, things like just reducing the brightness and stuff like that isn't in that camera, and you're not going to get the post processing of the iPhone camera. Smart HDR is not going to come through because that's done through the camera app itself. You get the camera functionality, and then I show her and she does it. And she's like, "Oh, it's better," but she still go back to.
Yeah, so it comes down to the user. But I think generally speaking, I think Samsung is overall onto a winner right now with the S21 Ultra. I really do like it. It is my daily driver alongside my iPhone 12 Pro Max. So one of my SIM cards is in the S21 Ultra and it's going to remain in this until we get another device that we will be reviewing. I think overall Samsung has done very, very well. Of course, we'll be doing a lot more extensive testing and dropping our full reviews, but I would say obviously it's not perfect, no smartphone is, but I think Samsung has really nailed a lot of the asks that we had from previous generations and brought them to the S21 Ultra. What would you say, E?
I would agree on almost all those aspects. I think camera, but I think for me though the design, and honestly, okay, I'll put it this way: Saf's favorite color is black. and I always make fun of
Really?
it. I'm like,
I don't think
I'm like,
people knew that.
yeah, yeah. So if you're listening, Saf is wearing all black right now, which he does all the time. But
That's no surprise.
I remember when we spoke about, I was going to go get my hands on, and I was like, I probably have to spend more time with the silver version. And once I looked at the black, I was like, man, this thing looks beautiful.
So good.
It is
So good.
absolutely beautiful. So I'll give them with the colors this time. Even some of the other colors that they have that's specifically on Samsung's website, the Phantom series, because everything's Phantom something, right? They all look really nice. So I
Yeah.
give them on just giving consumers the option. Granted, most people will still buy the black anyway.
Yeah, no,
So,
that's true. This is true, but this is the thing with Samsung. Like, again, like one of the things I was complaining about on the S20 Ultra last year was it was very bland, right? Because the
yeah,
design was just like any other, and it was just like it was just okay, and it was glossy, which meant it was just a fingerprint magnet, right? Now we mentioned, I mentioned all of these things in my review, and as I said, I'm not, obviously it wasn't just my reviews; other people mentioned it as well. But it looks like Samsung kind of like really looked and was like, all right, look, we're going to give matte finishes on all of them. They actually got it. They actually have a new camera module design because let's be honest, smartphones are starting to look very, very similar now. So having the camera module, which kind of melts into the sides, again, I'm a fan. I think it looks really good. And yeah, the black. I know they spent a lot of time at the keynote talking about the black version, right? And it's funny because Marquez in his review was kind of talking about. He goes, it's totally justified because this black is amazing. And I'm like, yep, my man, he's on the team black. So yeah, very much liking the design as well. And right now, I don't think there's anything else that looks like the S21 Ultra in the sense where the design kind of blends into the camera module and things like that.
oh no, absolutely. I think they should keep this design language. I mean, that's something Apple has benefited over the years of having a design language, and they learned this from auto companies, right? Your car design doesn't change for 4 years. The front might change a little bit, the back might change year after year, but the general design stays the same. The iPhone has done that generation, right? And I think maybe this design is one that I think Samsung should keep. Where they can refine things here and there, but that blended look with the camera really goes along because anyone else who does that is copying Samsung at this point.
Yeah, we'll be doing more coverage as time goes by. They've come in very early. I'm sure a lot of people are going to be getting them very, very soon. And yeah, I think there's still that pre-order deal as well for me. I think really sells the S21 Ultra because a lot of people have been asking me, should I buy it? And I'm like, you know what? Right now, if you buy it, you get the Galaxy Buds Pro and a smart tag included. I'm like, those are worth £250. So
Plus
that's
the trading offers as well.
oof, yeah.
Pretty good.
So yeah, I know this segment is not sponsored by Samsung, by the way. we just like the phone, and we think that they've really done good this year. And credit given where it's due, they've done well, and it really sets a benchmark for the smartphones that will be coming out in the rest of the year. We'll all be comparing them back to the S21 series.
Yeah, absolutely. Can't wait to check out more devices this year. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
I hope you enjoyed that clip. If you want to hear the full podcast episode, then that will be linked down below. And if you want to see more clips like this, then be sure to subscribe and hit that bell icon so you don't miss them. Thanks for watching. This is Saf on SuperSaf Speaks, and I'll see you next time.